Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm here this morning for EVA, Episode 8. Last time on EVA, we dealt with a big problem. The SSDF, I think it's the Self-Defense Force. In any case, the government built themselves a giant mech, hoping to, wrest some of Nerv's power from them. At least topple the monopoly that Nerv seems to have on big alien fighting mechs. It didn't go so well. The mech just started running and overheating, and there was the solid threat of a nuclear meltdown in a populated area. So that was bad. They called in Nerv, and they fixed the problem. But it seems likely that they also caused the problem. That this was a plan to keep them from making that progress. Maybe. But I don't know. There wasn't a ton of character development in the last episode. There were little bits and pieces because there always are. The show is damn dense. But there wasn't a ton. I think the most striking thing for the characters was Shinji getting to see Misato, her drive and her resolve. Maybe a little bit of that will rub off on him. Maybe not. Now, I don't know how I know this, but I know for some reason that we're going to be introduced to the new girl. Oh, they were talking about finding the next child, and I think I saw the first frame of the preview, and it was her. So that should be interesting. We've got a new girl incoming, and I've heard about her that she is an archetypal tsundere, which is interesting. It'll be interesting to see just how many characters are based off of Asuka. It's Asuka, right? Asuna? Asuka something. You pick up these things through osmosis. But this will be my first time really meeting her in the context of the series, because we are past the point where I have seen, and so I am about as blind as I can be as an anime watcher who has been in forums and stuff and read things. So, let's get into Evangelion. Now, EVA in the past has been only timer-based, but I'll let you guys know, in case you don't know, that what I'm doing with all my videos now, those videos that have to be timer-based, for copyright reasons, is I am uploading the timer-based versions as usual to YouTube, and then I am also uploading a full picture-in-picture version to Patreon. So it'll be uploaded to Drive or to Mega, and then the links will be available for patrons. So if you want the video perfectly synced up with the exact version of the subs and EVA that I am using, if that's more convenient for you, then, or if you just want to support this channel and what I do, thank you. Patreon.com/Teeaboo, that's the place you can go to get it. If you are cool with the timer-based reactions and syncing up your own stuff, awesome. I'll keep making those too. And if you like this content, If you're not subbed and you want more like this, you know what to do. And if you are subbed and you're not getting notifications for my content, you might want to ring the bell, because YouTube does that thing sometimes, and that's the way to fix it. For the most part. It doesn't always fix it, because YouTube, please. In any case, I am locked and loaded. I've got tea. I'm ready to go. Let's get into EVA, Episode 8. Let's meet Asuka. Let's see what this grill is all about. Yeah. Let's get into it. If you're watching the timer-based version, the timer will go here. It should be the other way. She's the cargo, isn't she? Why are they on there? Yeah. Ah. Sure. Okay. Whoa. Over the rainbow. Oh, that's a crazy helicopter. Socket for that kid's toy. Ooh. Ooh. That's her. Interesting directing, not showing her face. What a freaking gun otaku. It's great. So our first introduction is to stand on his hat, which we know is precious. His music choice. Oh. Hello. Yep. Yep, he is. Calling it a toy. When you stop being able... Yeah. Keep calling it a toy. That toy's gonna save your ass. Hmm. She doesn't. Is he her ex? Is she what? Is she? Is he to Asuka what she is to Shinji? What are you gonna do with it? You can't create an AT field. Oh. Was that the unit? Is he playing with her feet? Yep. Footsies. Eh. He works with nerve, yeah. Asuka's face. Wow. Wow. As if. Yeah, I see. Alright, we got angel music. Ohio! Excuse me. AKA an emergency situation. Yeah. Alright, we got some torps. Nope. Your torpedoes do not affect it. Yeah, obviously. Probably. And that's the only Eva on board, right? So it's time for Asuka to fight. Is she got her plug suit in there? Yeah. No contrivance there. He just looks around the corner. Yeah. She's got an extra plug suit. She's bringing him along with. That's not a good idea. Doesn't that mess with the signals? Also, the two of you in a thing is a bad idea. Also, he's in a girl's plug suit. It's got boob cups. Don't disturb. But how can you help it? Aren't you interfaced with the LCL no matter what? What is in that box? Is that just his suitcase? Huh. Fucking germ grish. No. Yes, she can. What is Type B equipment? We don't get to see this angel until they actually fight it, right? Wow! Just stomping on a battleship. And cloaked. Fight! With the cloak around it, that's awesome. Wow. Ready for EVA landing. You gonna step on my ship? Was that CG? Oh. That's the scene from the... fight. Oh, snap. It's like weird manta ray almost sort of thing. Also, her knife has it's like a razor blade. Oh. Uh-oh. Don't rock the boat. Wow. Are they gonna pull it along with them? Oh my god. Not enough. What are you gonna do, Shinji? Wow, there's a city underwater. That's amazing. Oh. See ya! Yep. So, I wonder what was in that suitcase. Ooh, in the belly of the whale. Yep. It's like a fish on a hook. Yeah! Reel it in, baby. Reel it in. They're gonna... Oh, shit! You're gonna fuck the angel's face with the battleship. I'm good with this. That's dope. Oh, he took over? Let's pull you in. It's a hell of a strong motor. This is great. He's not taking shit from her. He's actually standing up to her. You can really see where Trigger pulled all of Darling in the Franxx from. Alright. Open that mouth. Do it. Do it. Do it. Is that the EVA acting on its own? Is that what that glow implied? Oh! 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 Yeah. That's that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Something about the synchronization? Or something about the angel acting on its own? And he's all embarrassed. Yeah. Ah. But they both synchronized with it. That's really interesting. I don't know. Fuck. What were you delivering, bro? Is it a nuke? Is it a piece of angel? Oh, she's at school now? Yep. This is yet another ED version. Is that Asuka's VA? I think it is. And we get this sort of groovy version, you know? With the that was so cute. Okay. There is a lot to talk about in this episode. I mean, of course there is. We got a new character introduced, and so there's all this characterization for her. And again, it's all show don't tell, and it's done beautifully. It really is. It's some good ass Hideki Anno. I'm sorry, Hideaki Anno. Let me say his name properly. He deserves that. Asuka as a character is an interesting one. And I'm going to talk about her as though tsunderes don't exist, okay? Because... well, I'm going to try at least. Because the archetype is so ubiquitous now that it's tempting to just dismiss her as, oh, she just fits the tsundere archetype. But that's not really the way that it works in this case, because this is sort of a source material for the archetype, right? She's a character designed this way to be this character, and that is all. She's not meant to fit some external cutout of what she should be as a character. Just as Shinji is not meant to fit some cutout of a shonen protagonist who's weak inside, right? And has to grow stronger over the course of the series. He's not meant to do that. Just as Rei is not meant to fit some mold of the silent and sort of distant girl, which is another mold that is created here. Now, there have been examples of characters like these before Eva, but I get the feeling, and from what I know, Eva is the one that made them popular and made them things that we talk about and set the molds. So, talking about Asuka, it's tempting to just say, oh, she's a tsundere, but that's not it. She's Asuka Langley, and she is herself, and that is all. It's more accurate to say that tsunderes are modeled after Asuka. So, speaking about her in that way, the first thing is it's all show don't tell. And from the get-go, let me mute this and head back so that we can hop on through. Skip the intro bit. Okay, so we've got this delivery arrangement, and where are my subs? My sub track is gone. Okay, one sec. Let me open this in a different media player, because VLC is being weird. So let me open this in MPC. Sick! Alright, well, we can use MPC for, like, everything now. Excellent. Alright, so I fixed that. That makes me very happy, because I do like this media player quite a bit. It's been a little bit more reliable for me than VLC recently. And, more importantly, I can do this. Frame forward, frame backward. Okay. So, he's talking about having arranged this with the committee, and he says the cargo left from Sasebo port. And my immediate thought was, he's talking about Asuka. He's talking about the girl, because he has talked about Shinji and about other pilots as being cargo tools, you know, things like that. But after finishing the episode, I'm thinking that what he really means is Adam. He really means the stuff in that briefcase. So, or it's just a double meaning. It's just both. Also, there's this pattern on the ceiling, and I get the feeling that that pattern is is this pattern with the tree of life type thing. Not that. This thing. I get the feeling that that's this. Or some version of it inscribed onto the ceiling of Nerve HQ. So they bring along these guys. Partly because they're really useful characters to have watching and commenting on stuff. Specifically, Ganotaku Boy is extremely useful from a story perspective to have on stage, if you will, because he can provide sort of in context, in universe, diegetic narration without it feeling weird, because he's just excited about all these things happening, and so he's always filming them, right? So he's looking at everything, he's observing carefully, and he's talking excitedly about things happening, and he can fill us in on information about that maybe sometimes we don't need or care about, but information about the mechanics of things going on and the names of these ships and stuff like that, and say stuff like, wow, aircraft carriers, holy crap. And this is saving us. It saves us having characters tell each other things that they should know, because he's just being excited and exuberant about stuff that's happening, and that's awesome. This is a really clever piece of writing. Just him in general as a character, it's a really clever tool for that, and he's got other reasons to be a character. He's had his good conversations with Shinji and some other stuff, but this aspect of his character is really good. I really like it, and I wish that more modern writers would take inspiration from it and set up characters that are not contrived, but are useful observers in the same sort of way. Because having a useful observer character around to narrate and talk about things that maybe the protagonists won't prevents you from having your protagonists stand around saying stupid shit. If you want an example of protagonists standing around saying stupid shit, Sword Art Online. The entire thing. Specifically the most recent episode that aired. I think it's episode 6 or 7 of Alicization. They do a 2-year time skip, and for the first half of that episode, it's our two main characters walking around town telling each other about themselves. Like, oh, yes, but you are the page of this guy. Oh, and yes, we have been at this academy for 2 years now. Yes, it has been a long time, hasn't it? We've been here for quite a while. It's like, oh, stop it. Just stop it. The whole thing could have been done with like 30 seconds of narration. But because narrators are taboo, they didn't do that. If you're gonna do something like that, have an observer character. It's really good writing, and it works. And it doesn't feel contrived. It's hardly noticeable. It just flows. And have your observer character be somebody who their willingness to narrate things and talk about things is actually a part of their character, not just something that they do, right? That's really good. It's like really good. Other examples that you can get of that are like a master watching over their pupils as their pupils go off and do stuff. The master can comment on things that maybe the pupils don't notice, but that we as an audience maybe should. It's just really good. All right, I'm gonna use the bathroom and take a break. I'll be right back. Oh. Okay, so good character. I like him, and I like his purpose. Onward. So we get Over the Rainbow. It's a vintage model from before the Second Impact. We get this scene of the captain and his first mate talking about how much of an imposition it is on them to have to deal with Nerve, and the socket for that kid's toy, and he's continually degrading the Eva, calling it a toy. It's just a toy. It's a toy. It's a toy. Of course, his ass and all his men's asses are saved by that toy. So, shut up, boy. Shut up, boy. And then we get this shot, and this is our introduction to Asuka. This is our first time seeing her. She is standing. How do I put this? It's like a solid, wide-based stance, right? She's not. So anime girls often stand like this, like legs crossed in front of one another, or like legs together, right? She's not standing like that. She's standing like this, basically, and she's got her hands on the railing, but basically this is her pose. Is like with her hair blowing in the wind and just badass. First scene we see of her, badass. And then we see the next scene that we see of her, the next cut that this jumps to, is from below, and her face is in shadow. She's got the light shining behind her, backlighting her. We see her outline, but her face is in shadow, and although this is essentially a panty shot, right? Like, that's the angle that we're at, all darkness. She is all solid matte colors. She's got like 3 levels of shadow in her. She's got this not solid matte, it blends in to a gradient on her hair, and then she's got solid highlights on her arm and her chest, and a bit of her clothing. Just gorgeous. Which also allows them to do this really fluid shot of her hair blowing around without too much work, because it's just solid colors. They don't have to detail it out, which is great. And it's super duper duper effective. We get this really, really gorgeously drawn helicopter. It's really quite beautiful. All of the mechanical stuff in the show is quite beautiful. And then I really enjoyed this scene. Yeah. So we've got this static shot of these guys in the background, and it just sort of wavers a little bit. And then we get our entire crew of main characters one by one walking by. And he's filming everything, and he's super excited, and he's freaking out, and he's just looking around at everything. Awesome, 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 awesome. And then we see the hat blow by, and we know that he's going to follow. And he does so. Hey, wait, ah! And then we get Shinji, who's just like, alright. Just stretching out, yawn. And then we get her just like, really subtle characterization for all of them, but gorgeously effective. So, we follow his hat, and this was set up in the last scene, and we've got great shot continuity here, because we see the hat blow in from the right, blows across, right, and then we jump to it blowing across from the right. So, that gives us some continuity in the shot, and it's actually a gorgeous... It's gorgeous. I would call this Sakuga in any other show. In any other show, but for Eva, it's just like, that's the norm. The hat blowing around and contorting. And he's, we focus on him, on his face and his feeling of like, oh no, I gotta get the hat. And then we jump to the hat. It lands on her foot, and she can pick it up and give it to him, or anything else. Boom! Meet Asuka Langley. That's how we meet her. She's aware that the hat is there. She's aware that this boy is running for it. Stomp. And then we get him like... rage. And then we get... Again, we're... This is really clever. They're continuing to withhold her face from us. I also just noticed that the bow in her hair matches the design on the cups of the boob cups of her Eva suit. He's trying to pull it out from under her and can't. I'm not just taller, my figure's filled out as well, right? And we finally, back to the back of her head. That's really great. Gorgeous hair blowing, and then we meet her. And the wind blows up her skirt. And he gets a glimpse of something he shouldn't have seen. And then the most amazing character intro ever. Of all time. Does this work? Smack, smack, smack. Used to... I forgot to mention that there's this sort of goofy music. Sort of country music in the background. Really great. All giving characterization to Asuka. And her character model is super simple and iconic. That's the viewing fee. He's got that smack. What's oh! Smack, smack, smack. Oh, okay, I actually didn't notice because of the fact that he's so big in frame. I didn't notice that Shinji got slapped as well, and Gun Otaku Boy has his camera is cracked, and he's got a black eye from the camera busting in. That's amazing. And then the other thing is, like, that makes no sense. It really doesn't make any sense for that to have happened, because she doesn't move. She's standing there, smack, smack, smack. They're all three of them are in the same position that they were in, a few steps in front of her, and she is still standing where she was. So it doesn't make sense, but it doesn't need to. It's effective. That's the viewing fee, quite the bargain. And then he drops his trowel because he's an idiot and gets smacked for it. This is a great shot. It really is. That still frame. That's so great. So, which one is the famous third child? She's immediately to business because she's super interested in who this person is. She wants to compete. She realizes it's Shinji, and he looks kind of dull. Yeah, and she's the opposite. She's fire. You know what? She's fire, Rei is ice, and Shinji is stuck in the middle with... Wait, what is that song? Yeah, Stuck in the Middle with You. He's just there. Okay. And then this guy is doing all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and there's Ganotaku just taking pictures and stuff. Great. They have a bit of a tense chat. And we realize immediately that Kaji is somebody from her romantic past. Just because this shot of her face right here tells us everything we need to know. And first the surprise, and then the like, that's... I've never seen such a perfect encapsulation of the feeling of meeting your ex without expecting to. Oh, God. No, I'm gonna have to talk to them. Perfect. Those kids are really gonna save the earth on that toy? Idiots! Haha! And they're all jammed into this elevator, which is sort of exactly what's happened in the episode. All of these very different characters are all stuck together in this ship. They're jammed together. And then we move here, and this is great, interesting characterization. All of the focus of the shot is on the two of them, is on Kaji and on Misato. All of the lines in the shot, we've got this horizontal line of what's called wainscoting. This stuff right here, this is called wainscoting. Let me pull it up. Come on, Google. Yeah. So yeah, this is called wainscoting. When you have it's kind of like molding, but it's a form of paneling that goes across a room at about waist height. That's wainscoting. It's also called a chair rail, so that when you push your chair back into a wall, you don't damage the wall. You instead hit the wood line that's at about the height of the back of a chair, instead of denting and dinging the drywall or plaster. In any case, we've got this line of wainscoting which frames them, right? So it follows the line of their heads around the table, and then it frames the backs of their heads, like so. And then we've got these converging lines that converge to a horizon right around here. You can see my cursor, right? Yeah, okay. These converging lines, and they draw our eye this way. So we look here, and then we see the rest. But we're focused immediately on them. And then from this point where these lines end, our eyes are drawn by these two lines, here and here. Oh, here and here. The lines of their bodies and legs. He's leaning in, she's leaning back, right? So they sort of everything else in the frame is framed right along those lines, and then their upper bodies are tilted. His body is tilted toward her, and her body is tilted away from him. I guess from your perspective, it would look like this, right? She's tilted back, and he's tilted forward. He's got his hand on his face, everything pushed forward. She's got her arms crossed in a defensive posture and sitting back in her chair. And he's playing footsies. But they're also we follow characters' eyes, right? We look to see what they're looking at. Everybody is looking at the two of them. These two are looking at her, these two are looking at him, and none of them look happy. Also, his cup is the only one that isn't really in line, right? These create an arc. These two are essentially mirrored here, but this one is out of alignment. Although there's another line formed by his arm, this cup, and this saucer, or this pitcher of, I assume it's cream, along with this cup, and then the line continues up into this arm. Really just incredible framing. Just absolutely awesome. Also, Asuka is offset by the framing and a little bit more noticeable, partly because her hair color is so different, but also partly because this hallway and the shadow is the only shadow of its kind in this room, right? There's no other big block of shadow except under the table and under these other tables. But this big block of shadow draws our eye to Asuka. And then if we start there, right? If you start by seeing this, drawing your eyes to Asuka, then you immediately follow her eyes to Kaji. And then if you are looking at Kaji, we follow his gaze to Misato. So this is actually stunning, and this is a textbook example of planned framing. Either planned or just genius. Hard to say. So they continue playing footsies, and that's really the only movement in the scene. So if your eyes weren't already drawn under the table, they are now, because it's the only thing moving besides Kaji's mouth. We see from his perspective, and then he switches and leans back. When she rebuffs him, he leans back in his chair, but he's taking a dominant posture. And it's hard to tell what he does with his leg when he does that. Because it just disappears under the table. But it looks like he's stretching his leg out and actually bringing his leg further up her leg, like it's a sexual gesture. It could be that he's crossing his leg in a figure four, one over the other, crossing his ankle over his knee. But it looks like he's actually stretching his leg out to go further up her, and she withdraws her leg at the same time. So he moves forward, she moves back, right? Quite interesting. And Asuka is looking down and noticing that. And he addresses Shinji and says this, which causes everybody to freak. Right? Everybody is freaked out except Shinji, who's just like, what? What? And Misato is double freaked. Just horrified. And she just leans back further and further and further and further. Further and further. And finally she leans in. Huh? How do you know my name? This is another piece of great framing. So you can see where the lines are here. This is a line. Actually, her breasts create another line pointed at his face. This frames his face, and then his face. Very good. And she is glaring. Glaring, and then we zoom in slightly on that, really focusing in on that, and he leaves. Her cup has been knocked over. Cool. And then this is a great scene of characterization of Asuka. She's mean to Shinji sometimes, I guess, a little bit. But she's also childish and carefree and enjoying herself. Cool perspective on this elevator. Doubly cool perspective to show it the other way. It's just a reversal of the lines. That one shot, this one frame here. She's so lively. She's so lively. Changes everything. So different from any other character that we've met in the show thus far. That Mr. Kaji is pretty lively and funny. It's more that Asuka is. So here, she looks almost like a, these frames look almost like they're out of a Ghibli film. The brightness and the expressions on her face. Almost looks like it's out of a Ghibli film. And then we see her here, and she is very different. From below, dark around the eyes, nose is in shadow, shadow under the neck. All of the lines of her face are dark. Really thick, bold, dark lines. And part of that is that we're indoors now, and the previous shot was outdoors. But if we look at the lines of her face here, they're practically non-existent. Her eyes are wide, her nose is not dark, there is no shadow under her chin. In fact, there's the opposite. The line disappears at her chin and becomes this just light shadow from her body. Dark. So that might be who she is, but who she is to Shinji is very different. And she is looking down on him, quite literally. And then she shows him her mech and brags about how cool it is. Right. It's not the only difference. Yours is just a prototype. She's standing on top of the mech. And I found this scene kind of funny because she's on the mountaintop. Also, we got some framing here. These lines from the cables all point at Asuka. Right? This line followed out. This one kind of lines up here. This one kind of lines up here. They all point toward Asuka. Everything points toward Asuka. Also, this line of the roof points toward her. Everything points toward her. Even Shinji, if we drew a line through his center, it would go straight up. Well, my mouse is moving. It would go straight up to right about here, which is close enough. All these intersecting lines serve to just draw our eye to Asuka. Same thing with this line here. Brings our eyes over that way. Everything's pointed at her. She is on top of the mountain. She is in a conquering position on top of this Eva. She is the master of this beast. And I found it interesting that she's talking about how great this Eva is while it's lying face down in like a defeated pose. Like, blah. Just interesting. Right, then there is the explosion. This is great. We're back to less dark Asuka. A lot less dark. Still got some shadow to her. Mostly because we're indoors. This scene of running forward and looking out. We get to see both of them take the same position. And they are now in sync. And from this point in the episode forward, they are essentially in sync. Although they were at odds before, they are now standing together looking in the same direction. When shit hits the fan, they work together. Before that, and in other times, there's animosity. Mostly from Asuka towards Shinji. He's too oblivious to really figure it out, but they are in sync. The outlines of their faces are identical. This outline of his face and his neck is identical to this one, with minor changes to just because of their character shapes, right? Her chin's a little bit more pointed. His is a little bit wider. Okay. Otherwise, identical. Identical ear placement. Identical everything. They are carbon copies of each other right now. They are two bodies, one mind. And we get the Eva, or the angel, arriving, and we don't get to see it, which is lovely. It amps up the tension. And we get the classic... the classic angel music. And he is just like, well, I gotta get out of here. See ya. So she is plug suiting up. We see that. And here we have our classic main character walks in on girl while she's changing scene. Except it is not that he walks in on her while she's changing because he's unaware of it. He knows exactly what she's doing, and he looks around the corner. Bold move, Shinji Ikari. Bold move. So we see it here, and we very closely cut off her nipples, and he peeks. And it's not like this the contrived standard version of this scene, right? The contrived standard version of the scene is main character isn't aware that girl is changing. Main character walks around the corner or opens the door or whatever. Girl screams. He goes and pretends like he didn't like what he sees. He's totally aware that she's changing. He peeks around the corner because he wants to. Because he's an adolescent boy. And she catches him. And he immediately flees because he's an adolescent boy. Why are all boys such perverted jerks? And he's ashamed. Rightfully so. There's something off about the plug suit. Talks to herself. Here we go, Asuka. Okay. Right, only Neva can beat it. Gives him a plug suit, one of her spares. There's something different about this scene. Not this one. This one. I can't tell if it's just that the outline is a little bit darker, a little bit fuzzy. But it almost looks like her plug suit is computer aided. Just up until it conforms to her body. Probably not. And then he's emasculated by this. And he's taking a feminine pose, covering his balls, covering his crotch, and he's actually taking a very anime female character pose with the arms crossed in front of each other and pushing his not boobs forward. It's kind of hilarious, and we're looking down on him from Asuka's perspective. Shinji is weak and small, and Asuka is again standing, hands on hips, legs spread. She's not covering up anything. She is confident, and he is not. Excellent. I can get permission after I beat it. Excellent. Show you how magnificent my piloting is. Up close and personal. Yeah. So, this is odd. It almost seems to be looking for something. I wonder what it's looking for. Oh, it's probably that. That's how you set some stuff up right there. If you're a writer, take notes. That's odd. It almost seems to be looking for something. Instant shot. She doesn't even, practically doesn't finish the sentence. Mita! Bam! The exact frame that Mita ends, and it doesn't even end, it's cut. Yeah, you can hear that. So if I go back to this frame, right? Okay, last frame of motion for her mouth. You can hear that the ah goes all the way to the last frame. Instant cut. No time to even wonder. That is the thing that the angel is looking for. And of course, we know that already because we've seen it. But as soon as I saw this transition, I was like, what's in the box? He's got his gun on top of it. Worst comes to worst, escape by yourself. And we don't know that he's talking to Papa Ikari. But he's talking to Papa Ikari. And it's not that he's being a jerk and running away, it's that he's on a mission to deliver this thing. It's a secret mission. We get some weird germ-grish. There's no way to say that. Gelman? Let's call it Gelman.
Anfang der Bewegung.
Bewegung.
Linkskreigung. Synchro start.
Never did I ever expect to hear Japanese VAs doing, speaking German. And never did I expect it to sound so fucking hilarious. It's pretty funny. Feller. Actually, I want to look at the framing of this. So she's center frame. He's off to the side. And his hand position, like he's sort of clinging on and all hunched up, right? Very, very, very feminine. Whereas her position is masculine, if you will. She's focused. This is great. She presses her face up against the glass. And it's a great decision to have the windshield wipers there, because otherwise it could be it's difficult to give us the feeling that there's glass there. If you look here, without the windshield wiper there, it doesn't really seem like there's anything in this frame. We've got this bit of fuzziness over here, but that doesn't do enough to show it to us. And if it were to continue, then this would look really janky. The perspective on her hand and face there is a little bit off, just slightly. I feel like her hand should be down slightly and a little bit further this way for that to make sense, but it doesn't really matter. The windshield wiper gives us the frame of the window and lets us see that the window starts here and ends here and ends here, and that's really useful. And it gives us this distance between her face and the edge of the glass, which makes us feel like that glass window is really there. Really great. The EVA emerges. This is quite a piece of Sakuga, I just realized. I think. Let's push through. Nah, not really. But he does come up with the pinky up, which is kind of hilarious. Abort the mission! She grabs that out of his hands. And she's got her pinkies up too. And she's grinning. Yeah, I see her pinkies up too. Why? I don't know. Grabs it back. Pinky up. And they fight over it. So Unit 2 is using B equipment. Okay. I don't really know what that means. And then we take off. And then this scene where we actually follow it, I think up in the air is where we follow it. Or no, it lands first. Yeah, and then we show the whole thing. It's got this cloak. And that's just so fucking cool. Am I right or am I right? Like, that's just cool. That is, like, why does it have a cloak? Why is it holding it across its chest like it's freaking guts? It actually is a guts pose, you know? Like, cloak around. Oh my god, I gotta find that. Bear with me. I know there's a famous picture of him in exactly this pose. This is close enough. He does have a like pauldron thing, or not a pauldron, but you know what I mean. A thing that's holding it together. I know that there's a scene where he's holding the cloak in this pose. I just don't know where. Is it perhaps an anime-only scene? It's when he's kind of injured, I think. Nah. Alright, doesn't matter. In any case, this is just awesome. Super cool. We only get it for a few frames, but it's just the coolest thing. It's got enough impact. Got this sky in the in the cockpit. Pretty great. And then this scene is really great. Bunny hopping Eva. Is that CG? I really can't tell. You know what? I think it is. Huh. Yeah. I really think it is. Huh. It's not egregious, even for being so old. If it's not CG, then let me know. But I think that was a couple of CG shots. The wide shots of the EVA. Just the level of detail on it got so low compared to this kind of stuff. Also, the EVA really fits her personality and is modeled after her. They share a model, in some sense. And the knife is, it's a retractable razor blade, you know? Sakuga stuff blowing up. Wow, I didn't even notice that she chops through that plane. Zap! That's dope. Fighting this creepy angel. Gets dragged down. Right. It's impossible! What does she say? Something about, we won't know unless we try? Something like that? Yep. You never know unless you try. And we get this great confident shot. And then this series of scenes is just awesome. The line being dragged out and the line zipping back and forth as it's reeled out, knocking a bunch of planes overboard. Brace for shock. Urgh. And it looked like the cable snapped, but instead it was that the EVA fell off. So yeah, we get, see ya! See ya later. Ha! You fucking what, bruv? It bites. It's fishing. It's, we get to see the worm on the hook, you know? Worm on the hook, takes the bait. Get a plan, and he now takes over the frame. Previously, it's been all Asuka center frame. That's actually an in-between stage, so let's talk about that. So, even when she's hurt, she is solidly in the center of the frame. Actually, she's not quite in the center of the frame. We're slightly over now. Center of the frame is about here, and she is slightly offset now. Previously, she was dead center. I think. No, she's a little bit offset. Okay. We'll call that center anyway. She's dead center all the way through. She doesn't get moved over slightly as we go. But we start seeing from this side, for I think the first time, from Shinji's side. Get this. They get jumbled around by the shock. And I think the next time we see them, Shinji is in front of her, and they are now sharing the frame equally. She tries to push him out of frame, and he is not taking her shit. This was something I definitely wanted to address. Shinji is the kind of guy who backs down as soon as there's any resistance or any kind of struggle. He's not taking that shit. He is focused on the mission. He is resolved to survive. Follow orders. And to do it right. And now he has fully taken over the frame. He is leaning over her. That's his butt. And he is leaning over her and grabbing the handles. As I said, heavily... Darling in the Franxx drew some inspiration from this scene. Just a little bit. Just a smidge, you know? Just a smidgen. And she's beating on him like, get out of my frame! This is my frame! It's mine! Get the fuck out of here! He's like, no! No! I must take over the frame. Yanking on his hair. Reeling it in. And now she stops resisting, and he is... As we zoom out here, he occupies even more of the center of the frame. His face is dead center. And then we switch to a different angle, and now they are sharing the frame equally. And she moves from being above him, right? And like putting her arm on him to sort of putting her arm around him. And they're focused on the same goal, working together. And then their hands together. And this is where they break synchronization records. Again, sharing the frame. If you divide this frame top and bottom, it's almost 50-50 as far as who's occupying more of it. If you divide it left and right, it's just about 50-50 as well. The cut line is like right here. It's right on the edge of Asuka's face. You divide this frame any direction, and they are occupying about half of it each. They are centered, and they are working together. That's some visual storytelling right there. And then we get the power goes up, the glow in the eyes, which I was thinking was like, is the EVA taking its own control? Nope, it's that they are synchronized, they are working together. Also, they're facing the same direction. Facing the same direction, in the same position, same pose. They are synchronized. They are working together. Beautiful. Beautiful. And they made it. We get this stuff. Finding some useful data. Where's Mr. Kaji? He's gone. See ya. And then we get a fetus in a box. This is the keystone of the Human Instrumentality Project. Without a doubt. Sample A01, the first human being, Adam. Caution, blah blah, caution. Frozen inside plastic. And utterly inhuman. Modeled after a human fetus, but it's got gills and back spikes. Also, as far as I know, human fetuses don't grow eyes until quite a bit later. They certainly don't grow them like that. It's alien. possibly quite literally alien. But we are told that it is the first human being. And I would assume the first angel. And it is drawing angels to it. They want it, for some reason. So now, as far as I know, we've introduced all of the main EVA pilots. Rei, Shinji, and Asuka. And now we have this huge plot point. And I know that Adam is a huge plot point. I don't know why, but from osmosis, I've heard Adam thrown around. Huge plot point. And is crucial to the Human Instrumentality Project. So, I would expect that we get some more information on the Human Instrumentality Project, probably doled out in small doses and kept very secret, but a little bit more on that. And I get the feeling that we're about to kick this show into high gear, and shit's gonna start really going down. Maybe we get a couple more Angel of the Week episodes. We still haven't seen how Asuka and Rei interact. I figure that will be next, because we need to see that. See how their characters clash. I figure that their characters are going to clash big time, and that they're not going to get along. But I don't know. This episode was gorgeous. The shots of Unit 02 with the cloak around it were absolutely stunning, and I love them. I love them to pieces. I'm going to see if I can grab a frame from that and maybe use it as a wallpaper. Crop it to 16:9 and rescale it to 1080. Use it as a wallpaper. If I do, I'll drop an Imgur link in the description or in the comments in case anybody else wants it. Because that's just dope. Anyway, great episode. Lots of really cool direction. The characterization on Asuka was awesome. Yeah, it's just all awesome. Really fun romp. He likey. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. I've been Teeaboo. This has been EVA episode 8. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and as always, I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.